It's finally Friday. It's Friday, Friday.
Thank God it's
Welcome back to the Friday Show, presented by DRF Bets. I'm Scott Jagow, along with Ray Paulick. Thanks for joining us. Ray, it's hard to believe that the Derby is only about a week away now. This is a 2-minute and 3-second sporting event that we spend weeks, months, hours upon hours studying, especially in the days leading up to the race. So how do you avoid paralysis by analysis?
I don't avoid it. There's too much information out there. I get up and I look at Twitter to see what's going on, make sure everybody's okay. I watch the live feed from Churchill Downs because I'm not in Louisville every morning. You've got stuff coming from the track, quotes from every trainer. Their horses are doing just great. They're all doing good. But one of the things that I do is look at the workouts. I want to see how horses are acting the week and a half or 2 weeks before the Derby leading up to it.
Yeah, I agree with that philosophy, although it is easy to get caught up in the final breeze times and how fast they're going and, oh man, this horse worked so well. But it is a months-long process getting to this point, so putting too much emphasis on that last breeze, for example, which I've done and gotten suckered into the Wise Guy horse before. I try not to do that. What about pedigree? I mean, where do you stand on pedigree as it pertains to the Derby?
Well, I use pedigree kind of the same way I use the workout information. If a horse doesn't look right in the morning, doesn't look like he's at the top of his game, I throw him out. With pedigrees, I look at the sires and the dams and the broodmare sires, but the sires primarily, and I use it as a toss factor. And this year, I'm tossing the favorite. Uncle Mo is the sire of Nyquist, and he's the hottest thing going. I'm not convinced his horses are going to want to go 1.25 miles.
From a trainer's perspective, I think they disregard that information once the horse is in their barn. Then it's about who do I have? Yeah, who do I have in front of me? What can this horse do? And I believe that trainer Doug O'Neill fully believes that Nyquist can get 1.25 miles. And I do think that the cruising speed he has is very important these days and could compensate for that. But I don't blame you for taking a stand. I will point out, however, that this field has some really good pedigrees, or at least from the sire perspective. Right. You've got Tappet and Bernardini and Giants Causeway, some really good ones. So he may be up against it when you look at it from that perspective.
You know, with Uncle Mo, he's off to a sensational start, and he's a son of Indian Charlie. Indian Charlie is a son of In Excess. Neither one of those really wanted 1.25 miles. Indian Charlie came to the Derby undefeated for Bob Baffert, got to the 8th pole and said no mas. And Uncle Mo had issues as a 3-year-old that prevented him from being able to race in the classics. But I just don't think you got to take a stand on pedigree sometimes. And I'm taking a stand that the Uncle Mo's aren't going to want to go 1.25 miles. We'll see.
The other thing I like to do is look back and try to create a profile of the recent Derby winners. And I did that this week, where I went back 16 years and looked at the recent winners and, threw all this information together, how many races they had, what their win percentage coming in, their final prep, a bunch of stuff. It came back one name. I wasn't looking for a particular name. It just spit out one name for me, and that was Gunrunner. So something to keep in mind.
Well, he comes out of the Louisiana Derby, which hasn't produced a Kentucky Derby winner since Grindstone, I guess. It's not been a real productive prep, but he does tick a lot of the boxes that I like to see too. Good 2-year-old form, in good hands, a trainer that knows what he's doing, and coming up to the race off of a win. I kind of look at the same thing, and I ended up with Exaggerator, who's a son of Curlin, who certainly is a classic type sire. He had good 2-year-old form, didn't win the biggest races, but he was pretty tough at 2, coming off a smashing Santa Anita Derby.
I love Exaggerator, and I think his last race was not a fluke based on the pace or the slop. I just think he's coming into form. He does have a pretty significant strike against him, though, just as Nyquist does and Brody's Cause. They ran in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Only 2 of the last 16 winners of the Derby even ran in the Juvenile. I mean, forget about Street Sense doing the double. Mind That Bird finished last in the Juvenile and then first in the Derby. But that's it. So That's a significant obstacle to overcome, in my opinion, as much as I like Exaggerator. We have a few more days. We're going to get the post positions, and that will help us hopefully eliminate maybe a couple more.
Well, yeah, and with post positions, you've seen horses win from almost everywhere, but it's not just a number, it's how the number matches up with the horse's running style too. So the post position draw is an always interesting angle to look at as it pertains to that particular horse.
Well, we will finalize our picks next week. That's going to do it for this edition of the Friday Show presented by DRF Bets. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.